Welcome back. Today is part two of my interview with John Benkert of CPR Tools and Cigent. John is an expert on data destruction and recovery, as well as cybersecurity. He had so much information to share that I decided to break the interview up into two separate episodes. Today's episode, part two, focuses on cybersecurity for consumers and small businesses. Many of us are now working remotely from home, and our children are attending school online. Cyber criminals have ramped up their game to take advantage of this situation. So my guest today, John Benkert of Cigent, is going to offer tips to protect yourself from cyber threats. Welcome to the Carrie Kursky Show, your partner in the fight against identity theft, fraud, and cyber threats. I'm your host, Carrie Kursky. What are some other things that you'd like people to know? We talked about with CPR Tools with the data destruction and recovery. And what about with your other company, Cigent, where more cybersecurity? What are some of the things that you're seeing out there?
Well, I think from the data recovery standpoint, really, it's kind of just the everyday. We were just talking about this at the shop the other day that people are using their home computers more and more now because everybody's working from home still, and they're still, and now they're enjoying it, right? I was a workaholic who thought remote work was crazy, and to be honest with you, I can get more done in 4 hours today than I used to get done in 12 hours in the office, right? With all the things that bother you. So, but I think people are using their home computers a lot more, and maybe the technology at home isn't as up to date as the technology in the office. We're starting to see that we're our business for the data recovery side has done really well during this pandemic.
Wow.
Because of that, because people are using their home computers more. The technology isn't as high tech, I guess, and as up to date. So there are a lot more crashes of hard drives and data getting lost. So we're recovering from that. As far as the thing that we're seeing on the cybersecurity side in Cigent is because of the pandemic as well. I always used to tell this to folks when you're traveling and you're uh, um, working and those things, your sense of security is much higher. So for instance, in the office, your sense of security, because you're bombarded with people telling you every day, be careful what you click on, da 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 da, whatever they're saying, it's a lot higher. When you're at home, we tend to relax more. In the beginning, especially, we weren't used to working from home, so it was new, and it was hard to get into that work mindset of the security. So we saw a really big uptick in viruses, malware, those types of things, ransomware.
Oh, sure.
People clicking on things that they shouldn't click on because they're at home and they feel safer, and they're more relaxed. So it's still that way today, unfortunately. And of course, the bad guys always, no matter what we're talking about, whether it's cybersecurity or whatever, the bad guys take advantage during times like this, during hurricanes, during the pandemic, and we're seeing it. Obviously, they're taking advantage of it. They're stepping up their games. They're sending out a lot more phishing emails, and they don't have to be as targeted. We're seeing a lot of that. So my advice is just be careful. It's the same thing that you've heard for the last 20 years. Don't click on links from people at all. If it's somebody that and they sent you something, call them. Call them on a known number. Those types of things, and just you have to carry that diligence over from the office to the home office for sure.
Right, definitely. Yeah, we're seeing a lot on the identity theft side. The bad guys are getting very creative. Some of the old scams they're modifying and tweaking, and other things they are completely brand new we've never seen before. So yeah, they're up in their game as well. So it's good to be diligent. So with the services that Cigent offers, is it mainly for the business side, or do you have service or products for the consumer side? What are some things that can help people with? Because I know some people with working at home, maybe their employer provides some things, but they want extra security to protect themselves as well. What all do you all offer that could help consumers and businesses?
So both companies offer both services. So both consumer and business. So for Cigent, we have a product called D3E, and that's a software product that you can go to our website, cigent.com, and download today. And I think we have a free trial going on right now, I think for 3 months or 6 months. And I think you can do it on up to 5 machines.
Wow.
And basically it's kind of a protection. It's data locking protection. So ransomware and those types of things can't get to your data. And we use a patented step-up authentication technique to allow people to do that, to access their data. When a threat's detected, we lock it down. So, and it's a great tool. it's out there. It's being used by a lot of businesses. It's being used by individuals. So it's a great tool, and it's a great way to protect your data, especially when you're working from home. From the business side, same product, but then we also have a product called Cigent for networks or C4N. And that's just a little box that's very inexpensive. And you put it on your network, and we watch for things, and it's all monitored in-house. So the benefits to that product is that it's inexpensive. It was actually made for small and medium-sized businesses. But the more importantly than the cost is the fact that our SOC monitors it 24/7. So we have cybersecurity experts who sit in the SOC and actually monitor your network for you, and then fix things when they've gone bad, and then also alert you when you need to do something. So it's really great for businesses that can't afford IT personnel, or they have IT personnel but they're off-site, and like a managed service provider or something like that. But our clients, we have clients that have upwards of 10,000 people, and all the way down to 4 people, in a small office like a law firm.
Okay.
So very affordable. The price range goes from a small business, maybe $3,500 a year, and that's monitored for you, which is just nothing like it out there.
Right.
And then all the way up, obviously, to 10,000 and more employees.
Okay,
so your
and
price
just
goes up.
Real quick for some of the listeners, if they're not familiar with the term SOC, what is a SOC?
So it's a system. It's a security operations center. And that's basically where we have a bunch of computers and a bunch of people, and they just sit in there and do nothing but watch those screens. It's kind of like ADT has a security operations center, same thing. And those folks just monitor it. Another nice thing about our tools, though, is that they're very automated. So it doesn't require a lot. So we can do a 10,000 person company with just a couple people watching that network. So highly automated.
And with using these tools, do you still need to use the antivirus and firewall and everything on your device, or does it replace it? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So what we talk about when we talk about cybersecurity is layers of defense. And you should always have antivirus. I've heard people say, well, antivirus only works 8% of the time, or it's signature based, or whatever the case is. You should have it, because a lot of bad guys reuse the same techniques and the same software and the same viruses over and over and over. Some of the major hacks that we've seen over the years have been simply because somebody didn't have their antivirus turned on, or they didn't update or patch the system. I mean, it happens daily. So yeah, you should always use antivirus. And one of the things, obviously, when we built these tools, that was what we really kept in mind, is that we don't want to be competition. We want to help you be protected better by using these different layers. So we work with any antivirus out there, any anti-malware. We work with any hardware. So your FireEyes, your Cisco, we work with those in tandem with them. So, and a lot of them we actually have partnered with. And so when they detect a threat, we'll lock down your data.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. Yeah. And we do the same thing with working with identity theft too. It's all about layers, because there is no one size fits all. There is no, one product, you put it in, you're protected for life. So I like your concept, and it's like you're bringing an enterprise level of cybersecurity down to the mom and pop businesses, which I think is key, because for many years, they haven't been able to get access to any of these tools that are out there. So that's fantastic.
And because of that, it's the tools, but it's also the training. I always use the example of the pizza place. I have a favorite one downtown, and they know how to make pizza. They make great pizza. They don't care about IT and computers and that. They would rather not even deal with it. So, and that's the way a lot of small businesses are. They're good at what they are good at, and that's it. And so you have owners who try to do the IT part of it and those things, and they're just not good at it. So things sneak through the cracks. So yeah, as long as you do that, and then of course cost, affordability, right?
Right.
A lot of small businesses can't afford the $100,000 that Cisco wants to charge you. Oh, and by the way, somebody has to be Cisco certified to use it.
Oh, wow.
So we've tried to eliminate those things.
Okay.
But we have some great videos on Cigent.com where you can actually watch when our tools have worked with Windows Defender, detects an alert or detects a threat, and we lock down the data and protect it so that the ransomware or whatever the threat is can't access it. So.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. I think this is great tools, both for the consumer side and the business, and now everything seems to be kind of merged together because of COVID. So we have, like you said, a
Hmm.
lot of work at home, and you need to have these tools. So, if you're working at home and you're not hearing any about this stuff from your employer, about extra layers of security, then maybe go check out Cigent and their website, and maybe present it to your boss and say, hey, look, I want to protect me, but I also want to protect you. So I think this is great. Any other thing that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Well, one other thing along those lines is Cigent does assessments, and they're really inexpensive. I think our most expensive assessment is $500, and
Wow.
basically we put our box on your network for 7 to 10 days, and we monitor it for you, and then we provide a report on at the end of that 7 to 10 days, a full report that tells you what we found. It may be absolutely nothing. We may say you do an awesome job, keep up with the great work. If you choose to continue to use our product, then that fee that you paid gets subtracted from your first monthly fee. So
Oh, that's
it's a
fantastic.
great
Yeah.
deal. Yeah, it's a great deal.
Yeah. Well, John, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming on. I always love talking to you because when it comes to any of this stuff, you and your partner are right on the cutting edge. So, I always learn every time I talk to you guys. And really appreciate you taking the time here and helping educate our listeners, because most of them, they are either small business owners or consumers, and we don't always get access to this information. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thanks, Carrie, and I'm proud to be the first one on your very first podcast,
Yes, my
and
very first interview. So
I'm happy to do it anytime. Thanks, I love it.
well, thank you. And like I said earlier, we'll have some information in the show notes where you can find John and about his two companies and where the resources are. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. And all the links and resources mentioned in the episode are located in the show notes below. If you have a moment, visit my website, carriekursky.com, and sign up for my free newsletter. No spam, just tips to protect yourself against identity theft, fraud, and cyber threats. Until next time, stay safe.